Hey everybody, how you doing? Sunnyvale Reject back in the house on this beautiful Sunday morning, May the 12th, and you guys know what today is. That's right, it's Mother's Day. So at some point, reach out, say I love you, Mom. I'm sorry for everything, and thank you. Thank you for all the sacrifices you made for me along the way. Make amends if you haven't already. Get out there and create some good energy and have a wonderful day. Today I've got a great video for you, and I hope we get the day started off right now. I want to show you my Anne Rice book collection. That's right, I'm very excited about it, if you can't tell, because these books are not only mind-bending, incredible stories that leave you hungry for more, but they're also beautiful books. They look good on the shelf. The covers are amazing, and the paper is rich and dense, and my God, they're just beautiful products all around. And I have most of them. I'm missing like A Cry to Heaven and The Feast of All Saints and the beauty books. But God forgive me, those are just books I'm not interested in reading. The ones that I want to read, I have. The Vampire Chronicles, the Mayfair Witches, the Wolf Gift, the Seraphim books. And we're going to get started right now, and I'm going to shut up and show you my books. So we're going to start with the Vampire Chronicles, book number 1, baby, you already know. Interview with a Vampire. That's right. Written in 1976. Look at this. Beautiful, shiny gold that would attract your eye from across the room. And a great picture of Anne Rice on the back that says a lot. You'll notice her hair getting shorter and shorter. This was written not long after the death of her daughter. And, you know, it must have been a terrible time for her. But she said, writing pushes away the darkness, helps her push away the pain. And I like that. And that's why probably she couldn't stop writing. And she said if she did, she wouldn't know what to do with herself because it's the only thing that she could do. But this was written in 1976, and as you know, it's probably sold 100 million copies already. But it got mixed reviews in the beginning, and New York Times gave it a very bad review. We know that things have changed. Public sentiment about it has changed quite a lot. This is book number 2 in the Vampire Chronicles, The Vampire Lestat. Yes, indeed, The Vampire Lestat, but it's book 4 overall. But this is the book that people fell in love with, and they went back and checked out her earlier books, and the rest is history. I mean, the rest is history. Y'all already know. Tons and tons of books and movies galore. The Vampire Lestat was her favorite character. She also wrote through Armand, but she said that if she could be a man, it would be Lestat, because if he was a man of action, he could go, do, say anything he wanted. And it's not like there wasn't repercussions or he didn't have a conscience. He did, and that was one of his defining characteristics, that a lot of these vampires, some of them are bloodthirsty and enjoy killing, but they're few and far between. Most are conscientious about it, and, you know, there's a struggle going on between, can I do this to survive? You know, because immortality is hard to give up, right? Anyway, the Vampire Lestat, and we are moving on to the Queen of the Damned. This book is smaller than the others, but just as well made. I mean, just a beautiful product. Let's see, is there a picture of her? Oh boy. Yes, it is. It's on the inside here. These are all first edition, first printings. But what is the Queen of the Damned about, you ask? Well, the rock star known as Vampire Lestat, a symbol of evil, playing the devil on the painted stage. I even figured I'd do some good in that fashion, he said, prepared for a concert in San Francisco. Among his spellbound fans in the audience, pilgrims in a blind swoon of adoration, are hundreds of vampires, creatures who see Lestat as a greedy fiend, risking the secret prosperity of all his kind just to be loved by mortals. Oh boy, that's a familiar story. Fame, stardom, must be hard to turn down in the face of what some people might call selling out. But selling out to him meant letting the world know about vampires, and, you know, that wasn't exactly cool. The Tale of the Body Thief. Look at this book. Beautiful. See, her hair got shorter. Looks like Donna Tartt in that picture. I mean, Anne Rice was an older, an established writer when Donna Tartt came around, but Donna Tartt has that same haircut. Very serious, authorly dude. You know what I'm saying? There's Memnoch the Devil in a beautiful, reflective mylar cover. It's Memnoch the Devil. Look at that. I never liked those paintings. They're spooky. Memlock for the devil. Let's see. We are in New York. The city is blanketed in snow. Through the whiteness, Lestat is searching for Dora, the beautiful and charismatic daughter of a drug lord, the woman who arouses Lestat's tenderness as no mortal ever has. While torn between his vampire passions and his overwhelming love for Dora, Lestat is confronted by the most dangerous adversaries he has yet known. That's Memnock. Oh boy. The Vampire Armand. Another character that Anne Rice wrote through. One of her favorites. See what I'm saying? Man, I cannot remember, but I think her editor's name was Victoria Jackson. I think, if I'm wrong, please forgive me. But Jackson had a lot of input when it came to her covers. She bounced a lot of ideas off of her, and looks like the right decision was made because these books are beautiful and they do stand out. Like this one. Merrick. Look at that. Who's that creepy character there with the snake around him and the flute in his hand? Come on now. What do you think when you see something like that? Exotic jungles, voodoo, spells, witches. That's Merrick. Merrick is a witch, I think. Let's see. At the center is the beautiful, unconquerable witch, Merrick. That's right. Oh, look at this one. Blood and Gold. Have you ever read it? Blood and Gold. All of these books are in publication order, too. Blood and Gold. So Blood and Gold is book 8, and it was published in 2001. Another beautiful cover with, again, that fine, nice paper. The Vampire Chronicles continued with Anne Rice's spellbinding new novel in which the great vampire Marius returns. The golden-haired Marius, true child of the millennia, once mentor to the vampire Lestat, always and forever the conscientious foe of the evildoer, reveals in his own intense yet intimate voice the secrets of his 2,000-year existence. They've seen it all, right? These vampires. They've seen it all. Blackwood Farm. Blackwood Farm. I used to see this all the time at Goodwill's and Salvation Army. More than any of her other books. So, I don't know. Does that tell you anything? Is this maybe one of their readers' least favorite books? I don't know. I can't imagine them having a least favorite book. If so, maybe it's like A Cry to Heaven. You know, where it's not about the vampires. It's about 2 eunuchs. But this is Blackwood Farm. Then we have Blood Canticle. Blood Canticle. Look at that. This is matte. That's gloss. Gold. Beautiful. And their wraparounds. Look at that. I'm in awe. I love Anne Rice. She was a big personality, and if you want to see some great interviews, watch her Charlie Rose interviews and the interviews that she did later with her son, Christopher Rice, who is also a prolific writer. And she was married to the poet, Stan Rice, award-winning poet and professor, you know. And Anne Rice, primarily, you know, she felt a calling back to New Orleans. That's where she was born. She died in California in 2021, and when she did, it was to the detriment of the reading world, because, my God, she was just a wonderful person and asked big questions in her work of art, in her books, you know. They are works of art. But she asked big questions, and she made the readers do some work, you know. But she went to Texas for a little bit. She went to California, but she always felt that longing back to New Orleans, and she eventually made it back, you know. Prince Lestat. Signed copy. You've already seen the signature. Prince Lestat. The covers started to change. Prince Lestat was written in 2014, 2014, and so, you know, these newer books, the covers changed. I mean, that's very basic, but still kind of cool. What's this one about? Maybe this is one of the lesser-known books. In Prince Lestat, the long-awaited return to the all-encompassing realm of the Vampire Chronicles, Rice once again summons up the irresistible spirit world of the oldest and most powerful forces between heaven and earth, including the indomitable and invisible Emil. whose thirst for human blood gave birth to the horror of the immortal undead. That rascal. We got to pay taxes, right? We got to go to school and work. We got mosquitoes to worry about, and them damn pesky vampires. Like the gods of old, always interfering in our lives and stuff. The damn problem is they have feelings too, and so they don't just suck our blood, they fall in love with us, just like the gods of the Sumerians. After the deluge, or during the time of the deluge, according to the Sumerians, the gods that were in their blackbirds looking down at the flooded earth began to cry, because it was then that they realized that they actually did love humans, and that even though we're loud and clamorous and are always looking for food and having sex and being loud, they still loved us. And that's when they decided to make the new covenant, right? And teach us things that we needed for civilization, according to the Sumerians. We got Prince Lestat and the realms of Atlantis. Come on. The Atlantis is probably the Eye of the Sahara. It's explained in the Critias and the, oh gosh, what's the other one? I even asked my students to read this. The Critias and something else. But the Eye of the Sahara is exactly how it's explained in some ancient books. Crazy, right? With the mountains and the straits. Prince Lestat and the realms of Atlantis. This has got to be exciting. What is this about? At the novel's center, the vampire Lestat de Lioncourt, hero, leader, inspire, irresistible force, irrepressible spirit, battling and ultimately reconciling with a strange, otherworldly form that has somehow taken possession of his undead body and soul. My gosh, take a breath. That was a lot to take in. But this was written in 2016. And again, you see the new covers. They're not anything like they used to be. Okay, what else we got here? To finish it all, 2018's Blood Communion. Blood Communion, the final book of the Vampire Chronicles. Look at that. It's still very nice. Yeah, Blood Communion. And again, look at that. I love this right here. It's very, very expensive to print. And if I was, an author like Anne Rice who was selling books like hotcakes, I'd do that. But I'm not. The Vampire Chronicles continue with a riveting, rich saga, part adventure, part suspense, of Prince Lestat and the story of the Blood Communion, as he tells of his coming to rule the vampire world and the eternal struggle to find belonging, a place in the universe for the undead, and how, against his will, he must battle a menacing, seemingly unstoppable force, determined to thwart his vision and destroy the entire vampire netherworld. That's a lot to take in, man. I talk about blurbs all the time. Short, sweet, crisp, and to the point. That's all you should do. Think of the best 3 sentences you could think of, 3 or 4, right? No more than that you can think of to explain the book in the most exciting way possible that entices readers. They gotta want to check it out for real, and then you gotta sustain their attention. Okay, so that is it for the Vampire Chronicles. But right after the Vampire Chronicles were finished, in 1998 and 1999, Anne Rice wrote 2 more books, and they're called the New Vampire Stories, right? The New Tales of the Vampire. And it started with 1998's Pandora. Look at this little book, Pandora. You've seen it before? It's signed first edition. Pandora. Nice little book. Weird shape. Kind of takes some getting used to, but yeah, it stood out from the other books. I think that's important too, I guess, is let's just say you've got 2 books written and you're doing a signing. If the books look totally different, there's 2 different products sitting there, and if they don't like one, maybe they might gravitate towards the other. But if they both look alike, they say, no, and they pass on it. So give them something, give them some diversity in your products. Vittorio, Anne Rice. Anne Rice. Come on. She was writing like crazy, like a mad woman. During it all, she lost her faith. And Charlie Rose said, what was it? She said, I just stopped believing that the Catholic Church was the way that God, provided his grace. The one true church, I guess. She didn't go to anything else. She just kind of wanted to explore. And she said she wanted to read folks like Jean-Paul Sartre and others who would be, condemned writers for the Catholic Church. But she wanted to explore and think. She didn't go towards any other religion or anything like that. She just kind of lost faith. And she definitely wasn't lapsed. She made a point of saying that. Okay, now, I'm shutting up. And we are going to the Mayfair Witches with 1990s, The Witching Hour. Big fat ass paperback that's seen some stuff, man. Probably went through a hurricane, a couple of garage sales, and it's still kicking, baby. Look at that. Big, thick ass. Let's see. My God. My God. 965 pages. But this is the book she said that she wrote with the most complete ending. The most complete ending. And a lot of people say this is her scariest book. What do you think? Have you read it? I never have. Tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to hear anything you have to say. And again, if I haven't said it already, if you dig what I'm doing, I know I'm not perfect, but please like and subscribe. Keep the train moving, and I will get out there and pay it forward. You have my word. Lasher, from 1993. Lasher, book 2 of the Mayfair Witches. Beautiful copy. Damn, they knew what they were doing, didn't they? Lasher. What's Lasher about? From the day her first Vampire Chronicle was published, critics and readers by the hundreds of thousands have been mesmerized by the writings of Anne Rice. And with the publication of The Witching Hour, she created for us yet another world and legend, and both the chorus of praise, see the back jacket, and the multitudes of her readers once more increased. At the center, the brilliant and beautiful Rowan Mayfair, Queen of the Coven, and Lasher, the darkly compelling demon whom she finds irresistible and from whom evil spell and vision she must now flee. She takes with her their terrifying and exquisite child, one of a brood of children born knowing, able to stand and walk on the first day. No, you don't want that. It takes time to get used to a child walking around your house. You know why? Everything dangerous, you got to pick off of countertops and stuff. You got to, anything they can pick up and put in their mouth, you got to put somewhere very high so they can't reach it. So you damn sure don't want a kid doing that on the first day when your home is not child-proofed yet. Taltos. 1994. Exquisite. Look at this. Most of her books are wraparound covers. I mean, that's what they call a cover anyway, a wraparound. But the image wraps around to the other side. And I like that. And there's not a whole lot of writing on the back. She prefers to leave the image there. And V.C. Andrews did something similar with her early books. Well, they're all early because she died in 1986, but you know what I'm saying. The family portraits that she would put on the back. And then the blurb and the descriptions on the inside. And let's see, Taltos. Meet Mr. Ash. Quiet-spoken, tall, unfailingly kind, sole survivor of an ancient species, the Taltos, thriving among humankind as he always has done, now the head of a great corporate empire. As the novel opens, he is stunned to learn from an old and mysterious friend that another Taltos has been seen in the very same Scottish glen where centuries ago, long before the coming of the Romans, Ash ruled his clan. Okay, there was something in there that made me think about it. Okay, so there's lots of stories about gods in antiquity, right? The Sumerians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, the list goes on. What if those gods did kind of assimilate to being more like humans, and now instead of, ruling at, giant temples like Baalbek and stuff like that, that they just went into government and politics and blended in? Does that sound too far-fetched? I don't know. We're moving on. We got the Psalms of the Seraphim here. Got 2 books in that one. And the first one is Angel Time. These books are like Vittorio and Pandora. Tall, short books. They just feel so good in the hand. They just look so good on the shelf. And the stories, like I said, are just crazy. And you just want to keep reading. And you want to learn all about these clans, the witches, the vampires, the free people of color. From the Feast of All Saints. She said she researched that book more than any other book she ever wrote, and she knew more about those people than she did her own Irish Catholic folks that came over fairly early in New Orleans history as well. And book 2 of the Songs of the Seraphim is 2010's Of Love and Evil. Another beautiful reflective cover. Nice, classy spine. That font's really cool. Can you see it? It's just perfect, really. What does that say? I dreamed a dream of angels. I saw them and heard them in a great and endless galactic night. Very cool. So, thus begins Anne Rice's lyrical, haunting new novel, a metaphysical thriller of angels and assassins that once again summons up dark and dangerous worlds set in times past. Anne Rice takes us to the other realms, this time to the world of 15th century Rome, a city of domes and rooftop gardens, rising towers and crosses beneath an ever-shifting layer of clouds. And into this time, I had to skip a little bit, that was going on and on. Into this century, Toby O'Dare, former government assassin, is summoned by the angel Malachi to solve a terrible crime of poisoning and to search out the truth of a haunting by an earthbound, restless spirit. Okay, that took a long time to get to, but that sounds pretty cool, right? And if you're going to get one of the Seraphim books, you got to get the other. You want to collect the whole set. So guess what, y'all? We are moving on to some books that I can't wait to read. We've got 2012's The Wolfgift Chronicles. Look at this. The Wolves of Midwinter. Different cover than her other books. Provokes different images. What is this about? I mean, obviously it's about werewolves, but what's the point of the story? We don't know. Because the cover doesn't do a whole lot of work. It's beautiful though, and it provokes a sense of longing and questioning. Right? I love werewolves. They spook me ever since The Howling. Have y'all ever read The Howling or seen that movie? Oh my God, that movie's terrifying. Terrifying. Look at this one. This is book 2. The Wolf Gift. Yeah, come on. The Wolf Gift. Oh yeah, she went back to that gold spine like Interview with a Vampire, baby. I love it. The Wolf Gift. Come on, let's read a little something about it. A daring new departure from the inspired creator of the Vampire Chronicles. Unrelenting, erotic, unforgettable, the Washington Post said. It lives the lives of the Mayfair witches, blah, 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 blah. Where is it? A young reporter on assignment from the San Francisco Observer, an older woman welcoming him into her magnificent family home that he has been sent to write about and that she must sell with some urgency. A chance encounter between two unlikely people, an idyllic night shattered by horrific, unimaginable violence. The young man inexplicably attacked, bitten by a beast he cannot see in the rural darkness. The Wolf Gift. Beautiful books, y'all. Beautiful books. This was written in 2013. And the next books are her novels. They're basically standalones. And these are the books that I'm missing. Like, I don't have a Feast of All Saints or Cry to Heaven, Exit to Eden that she wrote under Anne Rampling. But I do have Servant of the Bones. Servant of the Bones. Beautiful cover. You see gold a lot, right? You see gold a lot in Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Lestat, The Servant of the Bones, Blackwood Farm. You see gold a lot. And this lady, Anne Rice, really dug into her characters and her scenery and the history. She traveled to a lot of the places that she wrote about. Like, she was in love with Florence. She loved Italy. And that's why she was able to, create such rich, beautiful, vivid imagery, is because she knew it so well. You'll hear all the time, writers should write about what they know. And if you do, that's amazing. You can write about what you know and you have more of a point of reference. But also, write what you don't know too. Take chances. Use your imagination. Practice it like you would a sport. Violin. I got this out of the Salvation Army for so cheap. Look at it. It's a beautiful book, and that's a great picture. Violin. Anne Rice played the violin too, and she studied under one of the best teachers in New Orleans. And this is her story, but she couldn't hear quarter notes, I think, and so the teacher was like, "Look, you'll be mediocre at best. You might make the chorus, but you'll never be main stage." So she gave it up. But I think it's interesting that when you hear about people like Donna Tartt wanted to be a poet, and Faulkner wanted to be a poet. He called himself a failed poet, but and Anne Rice wanted to be a musician, and it didn't work out, so she transitioned to writing. People like myself, I can identify. I'm not on their level, don't get me wrong, but I can identify with that drive, that something inside that makes you want to be the very best you can be at whatever it is you do. For me, it was music, I think, at first, really, and then basketball. And I had an accident; I couldn't play basketball anymore, so I started to write. But I always had that drive. It just changed forms. Okay, did we get through all of these books? I think we did. I can't ask to take up any more of your time. You guys are amazing. I really do hope you have a wonderful day. If you know anything about these books, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, no matter what it's about. But you guys, please keep reading. Never stop reading. Live, laugh, love, stay cool, and have a wonderful day.